All right, Nico, can you say, welcome to another episode of Healthy Births, Happy Babies?
It's a happy episode. Happy babies.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Yes, I'm Dr. J. Warren, your host. Yes, that was my son doing the intro, so you know you're in the right place. This is Healthy Births, Happy Babies. And this podcast, as you know, is all about giving you the information to have a really healthy pregnancy, as natural as possible as birth, an easy birth for you and for your baby coming into the world, so you can have a great postpartum period that's healthy, and then you can just have a great time being a parent and jump into that newborn world. And largely, those episodes are focused on mama. And that's a large part of our listenership. But today we're going to do a different thing where I'm going to be talking about some stuff that's going to help dads. And the title of this I'm putting together, this episode, it's about how dads can support moms during pregnancy. And these are things that I've learned over the years that the moms coming in to see me for prenatal care have talked about how it is so wonderful that their husbands or partners are doing for them, or things, honestly, that the moms coming in are wishing that their partners were doing for them during pregnancy. So I want to put them all together here. It's by no means an exhaustive list, but it's definitely a list of things that dads listening, dads to be listening, if you can incorporate these, it's going to make your wife, make your partner feel so much more comfortable and loved and supported. And that's just a great way to start off family life, right? So again, this is not an exhaustive list. It's not something you have to do every single one of these. Hopefully you're doing a lot of them already. And I'll go through all of them in just a moment. But I realized too that initially this episode might be listened to by the mom. So this is going to be interesting. So whether or not you as the woman listen to this episode and agree and pass it on to your husband to listen to, fantastic. Or if you're listening to this and have some more suggestions of things that would work even better, feel free to comment on that, whether you're got the link from your app itself, and you can go to our Facebook page, either at the CAP Wellness Center or onto my page, Dr. J. Warren in Facebook. You can add those in there as well. That'd be great. Or if you are a dad listening, kudos to you and listening to direct, start adding these in and see what kind of results you get. I think it'll make a big, big difference. So before I go into the list of things, I want to pause for a quick message, and then I'll come right back. My online course, Connecting with Baby During Pregnancy, has been out for a while now, and I've been getting phenomenal feedback from you women who have been learning these prenatal bonding techniques, putting them to use, and having amazing results. The same kind of results that the women in the Rafi study were getting, where by doing these techniques throughout pregnancy, they were having less anxiety and pain during labor. They're needing less obstetrical interventions, including less C-sections. And then afterwards, the babies are sleeping better, which means you're sleeping better. And postpartum depression was less than 1% in the moms who did these techniques. So go over to my website at drjwarren.com/CWB and learn all about it. I think this course is amazing. I put a lot of effort into it, and I think it'll really help you have a healthier, happier, and more relaxed pregnancy and a gentler yet powerful birth. All right, dads, let's go through this list now of ways that you can support your partner, your wife, during pregnancy. And this, again, it's not an exhaustive list. It's not the only things you need to do. There are many, many more. I have 9 things on this list. I may even add in some more as I'm talking, if I remember something important as well. And it's a starting point. And the more that you can incorporate here, you're going to be more involved as a dad, which absolutely is important for you and for baby and for your partner. But it's going to allow your wife, your partner to be much, much more supported during the pregnancy, because it can be a tough time and it can be an overwhelming time. So the first thing on the list is to make a priority of going to the prenatal visits with your wife. There are many visits. It starts off slower. You're going like monthly at first, and then every other week in the second try, and then into the third try, you're going weekly. And that might be logistically difficult to get to with work schedules and the like, but make it a point to go as many as possible. There's lots of information that is given at those appointments. There's lots of questions to ask, and it can be overwhelming if she's doing it alone. So not only is it your baby growing in there, and you want to know about how the health and growth and development are going and prepping for the birth and how things are trending and being involved in that way, but you're going to be able to support her that much better because you'll be able to remember things that she might forget to ask, or it might, in a discussion, you might hear something that then you guys can review afterwards to be much more well-informed. I know I went to every single one of the prenatal appointments with our midwife, except for one. I was sick. And it was really fun for me to be able to see the growth and progress and make sure everything was going really well. And it made a really big difference. So that is something I really, really think is important. The second thing is to attend birth classes, and even the breastfeeding classes. There's lots of birth education classes we offer here at our Prenatal Wellness Center, where we offer hypnobirthing as the main kind of birth prep and laboring technique, but there's tons of other ones, whether it's Lamaze or birthing from within, or all kinds of different Bradley method, all kinds of different great techniques, whatever you choose as a couple to use during the labor and birth process is up to you guys, but going to those is really important. Going to the newborn care class, going to infant CPR, whatever else is offered in your community or through your OB or through the hospital or a prenatal wellness center like here at CAP Wellness Center, again, is a way of just you being informed as a dad, so you'll be able to jump in and be that much more empowered, but also as a support to mom. And the funniest one for a lot of the dads is to go to the breastfeeding class that we have here. You think, okay, well, that's mom's job. Like, I can't help out with that at all. But you really, really can, because there's a lot of information about breastfeeding that is important to learn before you start, assuming that's the way you want to go by feeding your kiddo. And it can be overwhelming there, but a lot of times, just the reals of it is breastfeeding can be really tough in those first couple of weeks. It is the most natural thing in the world, but at the same time, it's a learned skill for mom as well as for baby. And those first couple of weeks can be really tough. And if you've heard that and you heard the information on how to make it easier, then you can support your wife in those goals that you have of breastfeeding, and stand true to those things and offer support rather than coming from a place like, well, I don't know, like ask a lactation consultant. I mean, it's absolutely important to get those resources, those professional opinions and expert advice there. But a lot of times, if you have that knowledge, you're going to be able to hold the space to be able to ride out those tough times and empathize and allow it to get there. I'm not trying to put it out there that breastfeeding's like really, really horrible there, but it's a lot harder than a lot of women think it's gonna be going in. And a lot of women that don't take the breastfeeding class and kind of go into it thinking like, oh, I'll figure it out, and if I have a problem later, there's gonna be sometimes there's a lot that can be avoided by knowing going into it what to do and what not to do. So anyway, that was a long description about breastfeeding class, but all the other ones are really important for you as a dad to be involved, to be there, especially the ones that are about techniques going into labor, because there's a lot of comfort measures that are taught about different massage techniques and different ways of helping your wife cope with the laboring process. And so you'll be able to be that much more present and informed and really holding that space for her. And that's something that's really, really important for once the birth comes around, that, it's not your job to direct things by any means, but you want to be a really encouraging and empowered supporter of her, in a kind of typical male sense. There's that protector role that we have and that protector vibe that we want to jump into. And if we're uninformed about it, we can go about it in a way that actually hinders rather than helps. So by being informed, you're going to be able to step into that role and create space and hold space in a powerful way rather than it being something that sidetracks the natural process. A great resource, the next thing I was going to go into it, is the book, The Birth Partner, which teaches a lot about that. Comfort measures, things you can do if you're not taking a birth class and learning it there. You can learn it from this book. But then also things you can do to prepare for labor and what the laboring process is actually like so that you're knowledgeable about it. The Birth Partner book, it's written by Penny Simpkin. I've had her on my podcast talking about the book. It was absolutely really just super valuable for me as a dad going into it. Patients of mine had recommended it to me and I found it really helpful and I recommend it all the time. So The Birth Partner by Penny Simpkin, either listen to the podcast episode that I did with her or get the book yourself. It's a great resource for you. The other thing that you can do to help support your wife is make sure they're getting body work throughout the pregnancy. There's a lot of changes her body goes through during pregnancy every day, hormonally, physically, emotionally. There's these changes that can be so overwhelming, and especially physically, if she's getting regular massage or acupuncture or chiropractic or hopefully all of the above, it's going to allow her to feel, one, just physically more comfortable, allowing her to be able to move throughout the day without as much pain and achiness. She's going to be able to sleep better, so she's going to feel more rested, feel more vibrant, more excited rather than being depleted. So that's just on the physical plane, but all of those modalities, massage, chiropractic, acupuncture, are going to allow her to feel more relaxed and more at ease during the pregnancy, which is great for you as a couple going through, but also it's great for baby because the more relaxed her body is and the less stress that's in her body, the less stress the baby's being exposed to. And we know now prenatally and epigenetically that stress environment can influence the genetic expression and even the behavioral expression of the baby. So they're more irritable and more stressed coming into the world, and that can make the first couple months more challenging. That was explained in another episode as well about epigenetics with Dr. Lipton. So if you want to learn more about that, there's an episode there as well to listen to. But in general, allowing her to have body work, putting it into the budget, putting it into the time schedule for her to get those appointments in addition to the regular prenatal appointments with the OB or the midwife, will make a huge, huge difference. And all of those things, obviously I'm a prenatal chiropractor, so we're seeing healthier births, quicker labors, all those kind of things, better postpartum recovery, all of those things benefit mama all the way throughout. So really just make a space in the budget as well as time for her to get those things and encourage her to do them because they make a real big difference for her. And, talking about discomfort and the like, another really big challenge that a lot of women have during pregnancy is around body image. And with all of the changes going on and, putting on weight and weird places and just feeling just out of control of her own body, a lot of women have body image issues. And so wanting to be really encouraging and supporting of her going through those changes will allow that to be easier. Some women just love being pregnant. They love the feeling. They love their belly getting bigger and boobs getting bigger and don't mind that their butt's getting bigger. All those things are just natural parts of pregnancy. But a lot of women, it brings up a lot of issues, so being supportive, and some women just absolutely don't want to be touched during pregnancy. Honor that, respect that, do other things to be able to make sure that she's supported and nurtured. It's something I've always thought before I was really specializing in this prenatal world that it was usually the guys that were the ones that didn't have the filters and make odd comments about whoa, you're really getting big, or wow, you really are eating for two, and are you sure you don't have twins in there, and those kind of things. But heard more and more that it's actually women around the pregnant women that will say things like that, even more than guys. Maybe guys are a little scared of saying the wrong thing, so they don't. But so your wife might be exposed to a lot of little comments like that just don't make her feel very good. So do the things that you can to, bolster her up and have her feel beautiful and have her feel really comfortable about her body changing, because it's bringing like your baby into the world. It's all for great things. So being attentive to that is really important, because that's really real. Another thing that's really real is pregnancy brain, as far as like forgetfulness and confusion and those kind of things. It's just a reality that you being sensitive to is going to make a really big difference as well. It's one of those things where hormonally there's all kinds of brain chemistry changes that just make kind of a fogginess and like, wait, what was I talking about? And forgetting appointments happens all the time here at our prenatal wellness center. And it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, if there's a feeling in the house of like, gosh, like, why can't you remember anything? You're really losing it. Those kind of things are just not welcome comments at all. So knowing if that forgetfulness is happening and not being focused and like forgetting things is becoming like more and more of an issue, then dad, like your job can be to step up and to be more in control of those things, to make sure that there's backups to make sure you're reminding about appointments and things like that. It doesn't happen to every woman. I'm not saying that it absolutely does, but there's just an overwhelm in pregnancy as well as in mentally and emotionally, just getting ready for those big changes for you as well. Absolutely. But the hormonal changes and all the energy that's needing to be diverted into growing a baby takes away from those things being as top notch. And sometimes women will be very self-conscious, as well as kind of berating themselves for like, I used to be so on it, now I'm really losing it. So being in the space of on top of the schedule and those kind of things can really help out so that it doesn't stress her out as well. Another really real thing that I would love for all of you dads to respect and just provide space for is the whole phenomenon of nesting. Nesting is really real. Like whenever it shows up, usually in third trimester, there's this kind of wanting to stay home, to be organized, whether that's cleanliness things or, making sure all the baby clothes are all put away and organized. I know that's what Effie did. Like she would refold the baby clothes all the time. Partly it was just really nurturing for her, like in getting ready and looking through all the cute clothes that our son was going to be wearing. But she's a very organized person as it was, but it really amped up. And it's all part of that nesting urge to have things in order for these big changes that are coming up. So if you find that she's doing that, like just allow her to do it and support her in doing it and help her doing it is going to be something that you're working with her rather than against her. Instead of like, hey, the place is clean, like let it alone. It's fine. Just know that that's a very real thing. She's not making it up. She's not the only one. It's very, very common. And just go with it and have it be a part of like, okay, wow, she's really getting ready for mamahood. That means she's close. It's usually a third trimester and even the last couple of weeks thing that can be a really happy thing to see happening, because it means you're that much closer to having your baby come through. And so I got two more things. I guess I'll go with the communication thing. So communication in general during pregnancy can be challenging just because of, the hormonal changes and feeling so uncomfortable. And then very typically, like in the third trimester, it's even harder and harder to sleep because of the hips feeling uncomfortable or the back feeling uncomfortable because the baby's gotten so big and all the relaxing going through her system, as well as just getting up multiple times every night to pee and needing to flip-flop up and around in bed all the time. They're not getting great rest. So that irritability and sleep deprivation stuff can make for stressful times, and one thing I can say, like to be in a stereotypical sense, guys like to fix problems, and so in that typical communication, if your wife's trying to communicate like a problem or just like kind of vent about something that's going on, like jumping in to fix it with solutions isn't always received. That's kind of a typical male-female communication challenge that we can all improve on, men and women. But, in general, just, at first sympathizing and say like, I know that must be really hard. How can I help? Like, what can I do to support you? And ask, like, allow them to feel heard. Just listening, makes a huge difference. And then offering like, well, what can I do to support you? What can I do to help? And sometimes it might be like, nothing, I just needed to like get that off my chest. Or it might be, hey, you could do this and do that. And then you have the solution there. Instead of you having to fix it, you can do what's offered and support her in that way, rather than trying to just figure out for her what the solution is and getting it wrong and then producing like more stress in it. I mean, we never want to do that. And that kind of goes back to going back to what I was talking about with the prenatal visits and the birth classes. Like the more you have you're on the same page as far as like the birth and the laboring and how you want it to go, then you can support each other in that. And taking classes, you're learning things and trying out techniques as far as like massage techniques or whatever it might be during labor, and you practice them, and finding out what she likes and doesn't like then is a big difference. I remember there were certain things we were doing in our hypnobirthing class, and just right then in class, she's like, oh, like, I do not like being touched that way. That just doesn't feel good at all. It gives me the willies. Like, and so I knew, okay, don't do that during labor, and good that I could learn it on Tuesday night in class rather than in labor, and, causing some strife and kind of derailing things a little bit. So just all those kind of things to just, listen and support and offer help, and, just go through those experiences with her, because in the overwhelm, a lot of the women that, especially during postpartum, if they weren't feeling supported during the pregnancy, will feel even more isolated during postpartum, and they just really, really need support. And that's what we want for the whole family. And so the last thing that I have on my list here, which is probably the most important one of all, even though I said they're all important and not in an escalating order, is rubber feet. Rubber feet every night. get a bottle of lotion that she really likes, and just at the end of the day, after a long day, her feet are going to be really sore, especially in the third trimester, carrying that baby. And with all the relaxin softening the ligaments of her pelvis, it's also relaxing the ligaments of her feet. So their muscles are working that much harder to support all the changes that are going on. And foot rubs are invaluable. So just sit down in front of the TV or sit down to talk and chat after dinner, and give her a good foot rub. Just nice and easy. Allow her to tell you what she likes, what she doesn't like, too much pressure, not enough pressure, whatever it is. It makes a huge difference. It helps with circulation. It's a really nice way of bonding, and it's going to make her feel really good. So that's my list. I believe it was 9 that came up here. I'm not going to put a number on it just because I don't know how many things were actually there. But these are all things that I've been hearing over the years as a prenatal chiropractor and a postpartum chiropractor, of what women are liking or wishing they had from their partners during pregnancy. So I hope this helps. And if you are a pregnant mom or are a postpartum mom and you're listening to this, let me know how I did. Let me know if this is true. And if you are a pregnant mom and this is a list that you would like your husband or your partner to hear, then pass this episode on to them and make them listen to it and talk about it and see which ones that you want to incorporate more. All to help the pregnancy be happier and healthier, for the birth to go easier, for postpartum to be better, so you guys can start your family life just really healthy and happy. So I hope this helps, and I'm going to be having some more for the dads as well, to be able to help during postpartum. So listen for that episode coming out in the next couple. All right. So until next time, be well. Oh, and I almost forgot, my new podcast, The Dadhood Journey, is out. This is a podcast just for you dads. So go on over to iTunes or Google Play Music or wherever you listen to your podcast and subscribe to The Dadhood Journey. You can also go to my website at drjwarren.com/dadhood and learn all about it as well. This podcast, Healthy Births, Happy Babies, has all been about pregnancy and birth and postpartum care and infant care, but this one is all for you. It's supporting dads because there's been a big hole in that, and I want to support you in more than just teaching you how to support moms during pregnancy. I want to help you support yourselves so you can be the best man, the best partner, the best dad that you can be. So check that out for sure. And listen to this. This is the new intro to the Dadhood Journey podcast. Enjoy.
Hi, my name's Mika, and you're listening to my dad, Jay Warren. This is the Dadhood Journey podcast. Thanks for listening.